everybody. My name is Bernadette Welsh, and I'm your host for Community Works. We do shows for local nonprofits in our area. Our goal is to educate you, our viewers, about the great work that's going on all around us every day by local agencies and their supporters. When people help their neighbors, everybody benefits. The focus of today's show is a wonderful organization by the name of Fellowship Place. And Fellowship Place is an organization where folks with mental challenges can go and be a community and get all sorts of support services. So I am so glad that I have the executive director of Fellowship Place, Ms. Mary Guerrera, and she's my guest and she's going to tell us all about it. Welcome to the show, Mary. So now, we usually start off the show by asking you about the mission and a little bit of the history of Fellowship Place. So could you help our viewers understand?
Absolutely. So the mission of Fellowship Place is to provide therapeutic support and a broad range of rehabilitation services for adults that are living with a mental illness. Usually very serious illnesses like schizophrenia, major depression, bipolar disorder, and a lot of post-traumatic stress. And in some cases, people are also dealing with a substance abuse problem. So they have a co-occurring problem, a mental illness and a substance use problem.
I see. And you were telling me about the founder, that she has
a
local connection here in North Haven?
It's a great story. Fellowship Place had very humble beginnings. It was started in 1960 by Phyllis McDowell, who was Arthur Murray's daughter. And
you mean Arthur Murray, the dance person?
Yeah, so for people in the audience who are maybe a little bit older, they are all very familiar with the Arthur Murray TV show and the Arthur Murray dance studios. And Phyllis lived in North Haven at one point, I believe. She moved here from New York with her husband, and she got on the board of a local mental health organization. And they, one day at a board meeting, they said, you know, we really need to start some kind of social program. There are a lot of people living with mental illness in the city, and they don't have a lot of social connections. They don't have a lot of things to get involved with that are positive and help them structure their time. So Phyllis raises her hand and says, oh, I can do that. I have a bachelor's degree in psychology. So she then went about trying to find a location for this program that they wanted to start. And unfortunately, a lot of places that she turned to sort of slammed the door in her face and, you know, were concerned about opening up to people with mental illness because of all of the stigma.
Right.
But finally, the Jewish Community Center, which used to be on Chapel Street in New Haven, said, yeah, we've got space in our basement. You can have it. You can have it for free.
Wow.
So she started this Monday night drop-in program, and she got Arthur Murray dance instructors to come in and teach dance and socialize, and she got friends, volunteers from, you know, her neighborhood and her social circle to come in and do refreshments. And
I love it.
That's how the program started.
That is a great story.
And, you know, all these years later, over 60 years later, we still have a Monday night social hour and dance in honor of Phyllis and the wonderful things that she did all the way back then. And what she did was just really, really remarkable because, you know, as you know, even today, there is stigma against people with mental illness.
Absolutely stigma.
It's gotten better.
Yes, it's gotten better.
But back in 1960, people were really afraid, and there was a lot of, you know, not in my backyard.
And also a lot of people so embarrassed that their children had a mental illness that they would hide it.
Exactly.
Or they would send them away.
Yeah, yeah.
And so,
sweep it under the rug. Don't talk about it.
Don't talk about it. Well, thank you very much for that great introduction to Fellowship Place. So now we're going to talk about the really wonderful programs that I know have evolved over the years, but now they're in place and they're working. So Mary, could you tell our viewers some of the special programs that are at Fellowship Place?
Yeah, so one of the things I just want to make really clear to everyone in the audience, When people think about mental health services, they think about psychiatrists, nurses, medication, all things that are really, really important to anyone who is, struggling with a serious illness. But at Fellowship Place, we are looking at all of the other challenges and psychosocial issues that people living with a mental illness have to deal with. So our services focus on employment, education. Many of our clients got sick in their late teens or early 20s, were never able to finish high school or college. We work with them to get back to school and maybe finish their education. We have supported housing. So many of the homeless people that we see in our community are people who haven't been able to sustain their own apartment because of their mental illness. They get into problem with neighbors, they forget to pay their rent, they violate their lease in one way or another. That's how they end up out on the streets. So we have 4 apartment buildings where we're providing safe, affordable housing with casework services for the people that we work with. Then we also have our largest program, which is our Social Rehabilitation Center. So many of the people that we serve tend to isolate.
Yes.
They'll stay home,
Yeah.
stare at 4 walls. They lost contact with family and friends, so they're really, pretty alone in the world. And the whole purpose of the Social Rehab Center, which we call the Clubhouse, very friendly term, welcoming term, is to give people a way to structure their day, be involved in a variety of activities, get to know people like them who are going through the same kinds of challenges, and start to build a support network. What's really cool about the Clubhouse is that it is open 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
Really?
Yes.
That's wonderful.
And people can use the program any way that they want it. So people can come 7 days a week, they can come 1 day a week, they can come 1 day a month, they can come a few days a week, and really choose the activities that they're going to participate in. And some people who are very, very ill may choose not to participate in any activities, but they come, they may sit, they may have a meal, they may just observe what's going on. But then eventually, as they feel more comfortable, they gradually get involved in more things.
I think that is just absolutely wonderful. That's
Yeah.
absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
So what you're telling me, I think, Mary, is that there's a place for the doctors and the medicine,
Yeah.
but this is the other part of it. So
Yeah.
that the clients that you serve can feel like they belong to a community and they can have fun.
Yeah,
Fun.
and that they could have fun with a purpose. They could be learning things and practicing skills, developing new skills that will help them be independent, and be in a safe environment while they're doing that. And with insurance, and I know you
Yeah.
when part of your life you're an insurance agent, you know that insurance companies only cover so many visits.
Right. Very true.
And people that are seriously ill need something to hold them together in between all of those appointments with the doctors. Now,
Yes.
some of our clients are lucky if they see their doctor once every couple of months.
Yes, that's very true.
So people who are seriously ill need something in between, and that's where we come in. We provide all of the supports that people need in between those medical appointments so that they can have a full life, a meaningful life.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, so how do you find folks that need Fellowship Place, or how do they find you? Is there a referral service? Who refers them? How does that work, Mary?
So through really a variety of ways, probably first and foremost, people come to us through their psychiatrist,
Yes.
through a clinical social worker who's working with them. Sometimes people are hospitalized and part of their discharge plan is a referral to Fellowship Place. But we also get referrals from family members, parents who are really concerned about their adult children who are ill, who connect their kids with us. And sometimes we get referrals through word of mouth. Somebody comes to us enjoys what they're doing, feels like they're getting really good help. And, you know, they tell somebody in the waiting room at the doctor's office,
Yeah,
oh,
I could see that
come to
happening.
Fellowship Place. One of the programs that I didn't mention is our homeless drop-in program, which is for people who are struggling with mental illness or a substance use problem, but are literally homeless.
Yeah, they have no
may
place to
be
go.
living in a shelter, they may be living on the streets, they may be living in a car or couch hopping. In that program, probably 75% of the people who come to us come because they heard about us through somebody else who was homeless living on the streets.
That's wonderful. So at least during the day, they have a place where they can go. And then there are other places like Columbus House where they could go and stay at night.
Yeah,
so
but
it can help fill in the gaps.
Yeah, and people need a place to be during the day. They need a place for showers, laundry, meals, and that's where we come in. And since the pandemic, a lot of the homeless shelters have had to reduce the number of beds that they can have and maintain adequate distance.
Yes.
So we have more people that are unsheltered and on a waiting list for a shelter bed. So a program like ours becomes very, very important to them.
Wonderful, thank you. And I'm glad we got back to reminding us about that program, because I think that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you have staff, you have volunteers. Are they trained? Do you need more of them? Tell us about your wonderful staff.
So we have a number of staff people, paraprofessionals and professionals. Many of our positions are, staff positions are ideal for entry-level positions, people with a bachelor's degree in psychology or social work, but then we have master's level positions as well. We take in interns, student interns from some of the local schools, Southern Connecticut, Fairfield University, UConn, where we provide training for people who are working towards a degree. We find those folks are our best staff people, because once they come and get to know the agency and get some training, if the work clicks with them, we make them a job offer, because they really make our best employees.
Excellent. How about volunteers?
Yeah, so we use volunteers in a variety of capacities. In our supported education program, a lot of people are trying to get their GED because they never finished high school, or they're going to Gateway Community College and need to get their math and English skills, the writing skills up to par, so they're taking remedial courses. And those individuals sometimes need more than just the traditional classroom. They need some one-on-one tutoring, so we'll use volunteers to do tutoring.
Excellent.
And we also use volunteers in our kitchen. We have a wonderful meal program. We serve 3 meals a day, Monday through Friday, lunch on Saturdays and Sunday. We have a professional chef. He's got a chef's assistant, but it's great to have volunteers who will come in and work with the professional staff to serve the meals, to set up, to clean up, that kind of stuff.
Excellent, excellent. We have so many questions. Oh, we have so many questions. Okay, so I know you have some success stories you want to share. So would you please tell us, I know they're near and dear to your heart, about a very recent success story. You were telling me about it before the show.
Yeah, you know, and it's so hard when people ask me about success stories to choose, you know, just one, but I have a couple that I want to share. And one, we got great news about just today. So this woman has major depressive disorder, had a job for many, many years, and then became very, very ill, decompensated, ended up in the hospital for quite a while, lost her job through this process, and when she got out of the hospital, someone in her family took her in. But that didn't work out for one reason or another, and they asked her to leave, so she became homeless. And for a while she was shuffling back and forth between shelters in Bridgeport and shelters in New Haven. but eventually came to our homeless drop-in program, where she really connected with the casework staff there. She didn't come in just for a shower or meals. She just really connected with casework staff and, wanted to explore, other ways that we could help her. So we eventually got her into our housing, got her off the streets and into housing, and then hooked her up with our employment program. We just learned today that she was hired as a receptionist for an insurance company in New Haven.
Wonderful.
So we are just thrilled for this woman, because in the course of about, 10 months,
Yeah.
We got her off the streets, into an apartment, and now a paying job.
Wonderful.
So she's really getting her life back, which is really
And
cool.
I know you have a second story, but I'm afraid of our time management.
Yeah.
So let's, Alex, can we look at some pictures from Fellowship Place so that Mary could tell us about them? Mary, what do we see here?
This is our front door. The campus is located in the Dwight neighborhood of New Haven, and beginning in 2007, with some capital campaign funds and some bonding funds, we totally transformed the whole campus, which is made up of a number of small buildings. So this is our front door. Very bright, very welcoming.
And this is
We've got some green spaces there where people can hang out outside. Our goal with the campus transformation was really to make the campus bright, welcoming, a place where people could feel proud to come to.
Yes.
And could feel good about themselves being there.
That's so important.
It really, really is, because a lot of people that suffer from mental illness have been the victims of discrimination. They've been the victims of stigma.
Of course.
Their families have, sort of written them off. We wanted to make them feel good about themselves, because if you don't feel good about yourself, it's really hard to work on some of the challenges that these folks have.
Good.
So we're really proud of the campus.
And this looks very, very
This
fun.
is so cool. So once a year, we have an education and employment celebration. And we recognize everyone who has finished a job training program or finished a program at one of the local colleges, or anyone who has gotten a job, gotten a raise, or a promotion at work.
Wonderful.
Because again, this part of a person's life is really, really important. Work is important to all of us.
Yes.
And so many of the people that we work with, because of their illness and at the age that they got sick, they never really got to pursue school or a career. And a big part of our work is getting them back on that track.
Fabulous.
So this is really cool, and this is always like one of the most fun days of the year, because it's so much fun to recognize people
Absolutely.
that have
Who doesn't
made
like
these
to be
accomplishments.
recognized?
Yeah. So everybody's holding up their certificate.
And people here sharing a meal.
Yeah. So as I said, we have 3 meals a day, and we have big holiday celebrations. We're planning a big Thanksgiving celebration next week. I think this
Very
photograph was taken at last year's Thanksgiving
And
celebration.
then I think we have one more picture to show. What's happening here?
So one of the things that we do in the Social Rehab Center is we have a variety of groups. Some are related to people's illness. So people with schizophrenia sometimes hear voices or have auditory hallucinations. So we have groups about hearing voices.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the groups are less clinical in nature, but are just about, how do I make friends?
Yeah. How do I do it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So this is just an example of one of the groups that we run.
Great. Okay, so now we're finished with our pictures. How are programs funded at Fellowship Place? Where does the money come from?
Yeah, so about 65% or so of our funding comes through contracts that we have with the Connecticut Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services.
Okay.
And we make up the rest through grants from foundations,
Yes.
private donations from individuals who support what we're trying to do, and also from the rents that we collect from people who live in our housing. I do want to give a shout out, since we're here in North Haven tonight, to the North Haven Rotary. They make a grant to Fellowship Place every year. They have really been terrific partners of the agency for many years, and we rely on groups like the Rotary to make things happen for us, because it's a lot to make up between what the state pays us and what we really need to run the organization.
And they deserve that shout out. Good people deserve the credit for being good.
Absolutely.
Okay, so what fundraisers are coming up? What are we looking forward to? It's November.
Couple of things.
What do you got?
Next week for Thanksgiving, we are kicking off our annual appeal. So we are looking. This is where we try to raise money, mostly from private individuals who support our cause and want to make sure that programs like ours continue. And any donation, large or small, is more than appreciated. We'll be sending out appeals to people in our database, but anybody who is interested in making a donation to the annual appeal who may not be in our database can just go to our website.
That's what we
and click on the donate button.
Good. So now we're going to show with the graphic, Alex, with the website information. There we go. So Fellowship Place.
Yeah, so if you just go to our website, www.fellowshipplace.org, you'll see a donate button, and you can make a donation there. But I know that not everyone is in a position to make a financial contribution, and especially now, times are tough for many, many people who are struggling. This time of year, we're also collecting items that we can distribute to the people that we serve. So we are looking for hygiene products, we are looking for hats, gloves, backpacks, small twin-size fleece blankets for some of the folks that we're working with who are homeless. We're looking for rain ponchos. So you don't have to feel like you have to write a check, but if you're at the store and you see, those fleece blankets that are like $5.
Yeah, buy them.
We'll take one or two or more.
Or more.
Or, you pick up, extra shampoo or extra conditioner because it's on sale at Stop and Shop or at Walmart.
And can they bring them right over to the location on Elm Street?
Yeah.
They can bring them right in?
They can bring them right in. They can just stop at the Elm Street reception window, which we saw there when you had the picture of the front door. And just say, I have a donation. And you can just drop it off right there at the window. Or if they want to take a tour of the campus and get to meet me in person and learn more, they just can give me a phone call and we can set up a convenient time.
I love it. I love it. That is so great. That's so great. Now, here's our philosophical question, Mary. We were talking about this before the show. We understand that Fellowship Place is important for the clients, but how does serving the clients benefit our wider community?
Bernadette, that is such a wonderful question, and I'm so glad that you asked that, because we are having a really positive impact on individual lives, but through our services, we are helping the community become overall a healthier community, and we are reducing the drain on the police, on the emergency room, on store owners that don't want to have people hanging out in front of their building. We're doing that because we're providing a safety net. If people come to us and spend time with us during the day, engaged in positive activities, they are spending less time out there in the community getting in trouble or creating problems for other community services like the hospitals, like the police, like the jails.
Like the jails, yeah. It's very expensive to put somebody in jail.
Yeah.
And so the community benefits by having functioning citizens who are learning to do what they need to do, which is just to be productive and happy and not feel that they have to sit in front of a store and beg for money.
Yeah, and the reality is that not everyone who is living with a serious mental illness may be ready or may be interested in going back to school or going back to work, although we love to brag about those successes. Some people just need a positive place to be during the day. They need to feel like they're a part of something.
Absolutely.
And we're providing that. And when people are ready for more and want to think about going to school or getting a job, we're here to help them do that.
Wonderful.
And one of the things that we like to call ourselves is a one-stop shop, because people can get lots of different services all in one place. And for many people with a mental illness, having to navigate lots of different agencies
too confusing.
and going
It's too confusing.
Too confusing. But they can come to us and get lots of help all in that one place.
Well, Mary, I hope that people are listening to our show that will reach out to you, and there's so many ways that they can get involved if that's what touches their heart.
Yeah.
So I want to thank everybody for watching our show about Fellowship Place. It's right on Elm Street in New Haven. You can refer a loved one, you can come and visit, you can bring a coat, you can help to put a meal on the table. What a wonderful opportunity to be involved in your community and make our community a better place to live. So thank you for watching. My name is Bernadette Welsh. I'm your host, Mary Guerrera, the Executive Director of Fellowship Place. And I hope that you'll come and see us again real soon when we bring you another episode of Community Works, because when people help their neighbors, everybody benefits.
Bernadette, this was a pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting me, and thank you for all that you do to raise awareness for all the nonprofits.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, we're off.